Have you ever wondered how your favorite cartoons actually came to life? Today, animation is everywhere in movies, video games, and all over our phones. But before we had computers, screens, or even cameras, humans were already obsessed with making drawings move. So, let's take a quick cozy trip through the time and see how we went from static drawings to the silver screen of television and cinema. Long ago, in ancient Egypt, artists were already trying to capture movement. In their tombs and temples, they painted long rows of images showing characters step by step, like two people wrestling or soldiers training. It worked just like a modern comic book. If you looked at them in order, you could see the whole action unfold. Now, fast forward thousands of years to the 1800s, people started inventing a small clever toys called optical illusions. One was a phonotrope, a simple disc with a bird on one side and a cage on the other. When you spin it fast on a string, your eyes merged the two pictures and the bird looked like it was inside the cage. Later came the zootrope, a spinning metal drum with slots. When you looked at all the slots at the strip of drawings inside, the drawings suddenly started running or dancing. It was the absolute spark of the animation. When the first movie cameras were invented, animation exploded. In the beginning, big movie companies didn't take the animation seriously, of course. They saw the cartoons as just silly cheap jokes to show before the real live-action movie started. But then came a young man named Walt Disney. He changed everything. In 1928, Disney released Steamboat Willie, starring Mickey Mouse. It was a massive hit because it was one of the first cartoons to perfectly sing drawings with sound and music. But Walt Disney wanted more. Other studios thought he was crazy when he decided to make a full-length animated movie. They called it Disney's Folly and thought audiences would get a headache watching drawings for over an hour. But in 1937, Disney released Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It was beautiful, emotional, and became one of the most successful movies of all time. Animation was finally respected as a true art. But Disney wasn't the only studio trying to push the boundaries. Right after Snow White, other animation houses decided to take the leap into feature-length films. In 1939, Disney's biggest rivals, the Fleischer Studios, who created the Popeye and the Betty Boop, released the Gulliver's Travels. It was a massive adventure film and proved that other studios could also make a high-quality long-form animation. At the same time, international studios began creating their own masterpieces. In Europe, animators started experimenting with different techniques, like puppet animation and stop motion, creating a beautiful long films like The Emperor Nightingale in the late 1940s. Even though Disney was leading the race, these early years proved to the world that animated movies were not a one-time trend. They were a brand new industry growing across the globe. After those golden years, animation hit a rough patch between the 1960s and 1980s. This period is often called the dark ages of animation. But why? One of the biggest reasons for this was a massive shift in how people watched media. Going to the cinema wasn't the main event anymore. Instead, everyone was staying at home to watch television. Movie theaters were losing audiences, and all the attention moved to the small screen. Because of this, animation studios faced big financial crises. Cinema budgets were gone, and the TV networks wanted cartoons made incredibly fast and cheap. This drop in budget and time directly caused a decline in animation quality. Studios couldn't afford to draw thousands of detailed frames by hand anymore like the Snow White. So, instead, animation became limited. To save money, animators only moved the character's mouths or eyes, while the rest of the body stayed perfectly still. You might remember beloved cartoons like the Wacky Races or the Flintstones. They were amazing shows, but if you look closely, characters often walk past the exact same background tree over and over again. Animation had lost its cinematic magic and felt stuck in second place. By the way, if you love seeing how these drawings come to life, I'm actually an artist and animator myself. I love sharing my creative journey here in my cozy corner, so if you want to see more art content and support my work, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me a lot. Now, let's back to how animation finally made its massive comeback. But then, in the late 1980s, the click happened. Disney found its magic again and started a period called the Disney Renaissance. Movies like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and The Lion King brought back the massive budgets, the music, and the hand-drawn animation. People fell in love with animated movies all over again. At the same time, something huge was brewing on the other side of the world. Japanese animation, or anime, was rising fast. In 1985, a new studio called Studio Ghibli was founded by Hayao Miyazaki and his team. They started releasing breathtaking films like The Castle in the Sky and My Neighbor Totoro. Japanese animation offered something completely different from American cartoons at the time: deep storytelling, serious themes, and peaceful hand-painted backgrounds. This early movement laid the foundation for anime to become a global phenomenon in the years to come, creating a healthy competition and proving that animation wasn't just a simple formula, it was an incredible art form for all ages. In 1995, a studio called Pixar released Toy Story, the world's first fully computer animated movie. It completely changed the industry. Suddenly, 3D animation was a new shiny thing, and the traditional 2D animation started to face a major crisis. By the early 2000s, major studios realized that 3D films like Shrek or Finding Nemo were making hundreds of millions of dollars more than traditional cartoons. Movie executives began to look at 2D animation as an outdated, less profitable format. They believed audiences, especially older kids, only wanted to see the depth and realism of computer graphics. To try and save the style, Disney made epic sci-fi adventure movies like Atlantis, The Lost Empire, and The Treasure Planet. They combined hand-drawn characters with complex 3D digital backgrounds. Sadly, very few people went to see them at the time, because these films were incredibly expensive and complicated to produce. Their poor performance at the box office became the final excuse for Hollywood. Studios literally threw away their physical animation desks and laid off entire teams of traditional artists. Almost overnight, Western cinema was shifted entirely to 3D, and for nearly a decade, major traditional 2D feature films completely disappeared from the mainstream market. But In these days, movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse changed the game. They created a style called 2.5D. It mixed the depth of 3D computer models with the expressive lines of traditional 2D drawing, for example, for the characters. You can see this mix in Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and the show Arcane. Today, the animation industry is more open and creative than ever. Animators are finally free to break the rules and try the new styles and mix the older ones. From ancient paintings to computer screens, animation has always been about one thing: bring your imagination to life. So, which era of animation is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this quick trip about animation, please leave a like and subscribe me to join me in my artist corner. I am doing an animation short film and I will show you the behind the scenes. See ya in the next video and bye butterflies!